first time it happened was snow, southern Michigan actually. The speedometer went crazy and it went right to 0. And when it does that, this truck is equipped with a safety system, basically. Forget the actual terminology of what it's called, but it limits everything. It limits my RPMs, my speed, torque. So it limits it to like 40 miles an hour. You can't get above 1500 RPMs. I mean, you could short shift every gear to get it up to speed, but it's not really recommended, right, especially if you're 45,000 pounds. Yeah. And so even if it sits, like last night, we got a ton of rain, pulled out this morning, speedo didn't work. I'm going to check the wiring to make sure there's no frays or anything in it, because my master mechanic that I use recommended that I check the wiring, and he recommended change the sensor so you don't even have to worry about it. We're not going to pull the old sensor because these rust in, and as the transmission heats up, it basically makes it that much worse. It can actually destroy this section of the sensor, and that could be the problem that I'm having, and it's not even anything to do with the wiring. So we're just going to use another hole down from where the current sensor is and put it in there.
Cool beans. We're gonna get set up with tools and kind of get down there. All right, y'all, we are under the trans. It's Eaton Fuller 13 speed. So I'm gonna show you where this guy's. It's a 2014 Kenworth
T660.
So here is our port we're gonna use. Oh, yeah. Right where that wire is. And up top there, if I can see where I'm showing you guys. Yeah, right there, that's that old sensor there. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. We gotta clean this up a little bit as to not get all the shmoo in there. I think we're gonna test this wiring out. That was the next step we were thinking. I just wanted to show you where we're gonna be working at. What I'm kinda gonna do is remove this cord wrap shits here. I'm just gonna look for any signs where we have been told that up in here should like to rust on this bracket right here. So we'll take that all apart and we'll have a look there. That's your speed sensor there. She runs all the way around. We tracked her back to here. Now it's gonna be different, but so we got a green and kind of a bluish wire there. So we got our green and our bluish wire. So I just have this on the, we're checking for continuity to see if there's any breaks in here. Now this isn't gonna tell us if the wiring's bad. We would have to do a voltage drop test to do that. This is just confirming that we do have a connection from point A to point B. Continuity there.
Tells us the one wire is not cut and we're getting a connection all the way across.
There's our other one. We're golden from here to here.
Keep in mind, it won't tell you if it's frayed. It'll just tell you if it's cut.
Next step is we're gonna take some dielectric grease and we're gonna throw a little bit in here, because this is a watertight seal, and that's just gonna prevent any moisture getting in there or rust causing us issues down the road.
Okay, so here's a few things you can use to clean the hole. Brake clean. A scraper to just kind of scrape off whatever rust is right there on the surface. Wire brush. He's got a little wire brush, and then if you can, these guys will help too. These little engine brush kits, they'll help as well. So we'll probably take that one over there. Oh, maybe that one. Sandpaper to clean the rust off the surface there.
That's that little plug we
Plastic
were
plug
pointing at. Yep, we got the, well, I kind of picked the top part out the best I could. And,
we got a tap, got a bolt, ran the tap through, put the bolt through, but we came up with this nifty idea because we were just going to put the bolt into the plastic and pry it out. We came up with the nifty idea of doing something like this, so when it just sat over, and every time we pushed in, we would just pull, and it pulled it all the way out. We didn't even have to pry.
Butt hair.
Yep. So now we're gonna clean it all up, get it prepped to put the speed sensor in.
So yeah, that took us a little while. We had to go. Went and called for backup. Pete, hell of a guy, hell of a lot of experience there.
Yep.
Gave us a tap and a couple of bolts, and I said, "This'll do it." And sure as shit.
Yep. His idea was to do it all the time. He's a diesel mechanic, by the way, like 40 years. He was like, I do it all the time. Run the tap through it. They always break. You're never gonna pull these pieces out as a whole. They always break. And run the tap through it, put the bolt through it, a decent amount of length in there, pry it out, use a pry bar. And
pry bar, or use, if you have it, some sort of that's bigger than it, but you can stick the bolt
this
through.
This is just a piece of pipe.
Like was that inch to, I think, half-inch, whatever, pipe thread shits.
Yeah.
Just something we found in the shop.
Yep, we put 2 and 2 together. We said, well, prying it out, there's not a whole lot of room. I mean, you're looking at about this much room to be able to get something in there.
And she was rusted all the way fucked the way down. You can see it actually on here.
This is halfway point. And we broke it off right above. So actually moisture didn't get too far in there, but it got in there enough to swell around there.
Yep. So yeah.
I mean, there wasn't even any way to get between the plastic and the actual wall. We tried even cutting it with the screwdriver, just trying to break down the lines.
Okay. You'll have to excuse my poor camera rigging. So we finally got the little dingus out. We did show you our method. So after we did that, went in with a little engine brush. Prefer to use something sort of circular because it's easy to, and you know, not put schmoo in there. Use a little bit of brake clean too. So the next step is going to be installing the speed sensor. And the instructions call for anti-seize, and they call for it to be used around the O-ring there, and then all around the shaft here. Don't put any on the bottom because that's where it's
That's where your tone ring. Now, one thing I do want to point out too is some of these, if you look, there's kind of the, you see kind of the crease, and it goes down the sides too. My buddy there at JX was telling me some call for, they recommend that crease be up and down. So with the thing spinning this way, that crease would be up and down. It doesn't say in the paper. He said if it says in the paper that it matters, do it that way. If it doesn't say anything, then put it whatever way you want. In our case, if you're looking from the transmission down, it's gonna look something like this because, you know, you have the speed sensor harness that's gonna clip into here. Keep in mind, when you do this, make sure you have enough. If you're not gonna use the actual same stock sensor hole, you're not gonna remove that old sensor and put this one there, you're gonna use another hole. Make sure that harness reaches before you go pulling that plug out, because that's what's blocking stuff from getting inside. So I just wanted to point that out.
And so more than likely you're gonna end up like us breaking that nub or that plug trying to get it out. So be prepared. Check the orientation the OEM ones in if you haven't taken the old one out yet, and then you can, when you swap the hole, maybe match that up if you're that worried about it. Because yeah, like Dan said, the instructions aren't very clear on that.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I mean, we'll probably throw like up maybe a screenshot of the paper so you guys can see what we're seeing. But another thing I want to point out is this is what your bolt's gonna look like. It's a Torx, Torx E12 actually, so that you know what that is ahead of time. And it does call for a torque spec, 11 to 13 Newton meters. So that's what we're gonna torque this to. It already has Loctite on the bolt, so don't go adding more. What's on there is more than enough.
Give you guys a quick little shot of this part number here. It is genuine Eaton parts, just so you know exactly what sensor we're playing with, and maybe save some guys some money and some time.
One other thing that I want to throw in is we will go ahead again and use, you know, electrical grease in the new sensor so that we prevent any moisture, water getting in there and corroding it all up. All cleaned up, ready for installation.
Doing a little persuading on the easier side. Taking some of them plastic ribs down a little bit, because, I mean, what's the guy gonna do, really? You know? And we done already sanded the fucking hole out. Alright? So, this is the next logical step. We're gonna go for it.
Jesus.
Ready?
Yeah.
Oh,
What the fuck?
ka-chunk, ka-chunk.
Can you... Okay. Use that stupid fucker. Hopefully that goes in smooth.
Dude, I mean, when did we start? 6:30.
6:30 and
It's now 3:25.
3:25.
Granted, couple of quick trips.
Right. So about an hour just pissing around, and but we finally got her done. Had to get a tap bolt. So then trying to put the new speed sensor into the second hole and ran into some snags there. The plastic molding was a little bit too girthy. So we tried sanding by hand, little by little, and it's taken 9 hours, so busted out the electric sander.
You could use a Dremel. We just kind of used the electric wood sander with 60 grit. Be gentle, because it does take off a lot quickly.
Last time slid all the way in, so we popped her out, threw the O-ring in it, and the O-ring sealed really good because I actually had to work it in there. So that's a good thing. Aside from that, yeah, we torqued it to... I went just a blonde one past what we had it was 11 Newton meters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
11 to 13.
We had inch-pound torque wrenches. So we just converted 8 times 12, and then you get your thing there at 98 inch-pounds. Or on mine it has inch-pounds and newton meters, so we went with newton meters. We went over the harness really good. We did have continuity from the speed sensor to the first little block it runs into to connect. So we kind of ruled that guy out as being suspect. The contact cleaner, and we cleaned out the inside of both those connections we tore apart. Dielectric grease in both of them. Oh, also, there's a little cover that comes on the end of the new speed sensor. Since we didn't take the old one out, I just went ahead and threw that cover onto the old one, just to help keep the water out or any elements that'll get packed in there.
If it falls off, it was never meant to be. Highly recommend that you remove the driver's side steps to the battery box. You can remove that one. There's just a little bit more on the frame you need to get over. We found it was much easier to get to the wiring on top of the trans from the passenger side because there's less over the frame right there. There's less air lines, plus we had fuel lines. It's just easier from the passenger side. So you could do that trick with the blocks and then go through from the passenger side when you're looking into the wiring issue.
So
One other tip too on the going under the cab to get under the frame to the wires, you can remove the chrome trim there. We didn't. Just added work, but if you feel like it, you can remove that trim. It might help. It'll give you about that much more room to get in there, and it actually might make it a hell of a lot easier. We got her up there.
Yes, sir.
Take it up Reamer's road so we can see if it gets up to 60.
Right. Function on this whole camera.
Would go down Bradley, but because it's
So like
4 o'clock in the morning, we'll take thinking. Ouch. Gravel trains
coming through.
Trim on that. Look it out your window.
Yeah.
I hate when she leaves her car in the driveway.
Jesus!
Fuck, bro.
Alright, roll the window down.